In this video, I'll show you exactly how to use Claude AI step by step. Claude is an AI assistant that helps you write, analyze information, and create things you can actually use. I'm Kevin, and we'll start with the basics, like writing, summarizing information, and working with files. Then we'll move on to more powerful features like artifacts, projects, connectors, and skills. By the end, you'll know how to use Claude to actually get work done, not just chat with it. Let's get started. First, head to the Claude website. You'll find a link right here at the bottom of the screen, and then sign in. It's completely free to get started. Once you're in, this is the main screen where all your conversations happen. Here in the middle, you'll see the prompt box. This is where you type what you want Claude to do. Over on the left-hand side, you have what's called the sidebar. From here, you can start a new chat. You can also access more advanced features. And down here at the bottom, you can also view your recent chats so you can always come back to your work. Let's start with something simple. I'll ask Claude to write a professional email. Then, right over here, let's run that. Here, you can see Claude created a full professional email with structure. We even have some bullet points and all the details we would need to send this to a supplier. Now, in most cases, this is already pretty good, but I didn't actually specify the type of cookie. Here, it looks like it assumes it's chocolate chip since that is the most popular type of cookie, although I had oatmeal raisin in mind. I don't have to start over if it's not perfect. Instead, I can refine it. Down below, I'll type in a prompt to modify this email so it's for oatmeal raisin cookies instead, and then let's run that. Right up on top, we can now see the updated email message, and down below, we can see a summary of all the different changes that it made. And of course, I could keep going from here. I could ask it to make the email shorter, maybe make it more friendly, or just give it more context, like let's say who the email is for, or maybe what tone I want. This back and forth is really how you get the best results. Now, once I'm happy with this message, right up on top, I could fill in these various placeholders. For example, here, I could type in the supplier name. Down below, I could copy the message, or over here, one of my favorite features, you could also open the email directly within your email client. Now, let's look at another really common use case, summarizing information. I'll start a new chat right here in the top left-hand corner. You'll notice when I hover, there's a shortcut key. I have a dense sales report I need to read. Instead of going through the entire document, I can upload it to Claude to get a quick summary or ask questions about it. Right over here, I can click on the plus icon, and here I could upload a file or a photo. Or my favorite method, I could simply take my file and then drag and drop it into the chat. There, I see my file. Down below, I can now enter in a prompt. So let's say to summarize this and give me the key takeaways. Then over here, let's run that. Claude pulls out all the most important points and presents them in a clean, easy to read format. And look at that. Revenue hits $482,000. Like Mama always said, there's money in the cookie business. Now, this works with all kinds of files like documents, PDFs, or even spreadsheets. So far, we've been using Claude like a chatbot, writing and summarizing, but this is where it really starts to stand out. Over on the left-hand side, let's hover over the More dropdown, and here you'll see an option for artifacts. Let's click on that. Instead of just giving you text in the chat, Claude can actually create things you can work on. So right over here, let's click on Create Artifact. And over here, we could choose the type of artifact. You have apps and websites, documents and templates, games, and more. For this, I'll select Documents and Templates. Down below, I get a question back asking me what kind of document or template do I have in mind? Well, I would like to create a product launch plan for the Kevin Cookie Company's new oatmeal raisin cookie. Then I'll send that. Before it builds the artifact, it gives me a quick high-level outline of what it wants to build. Now, I think all of this looks great. So down below, I'll type that in and then let's send that. Now, you'll notice this opens up in a separate workspace. This is what's called an artifact. It's something Claude creates that you can actually work on and edit instead of just viewing everything here in the chat. Now, overall, I think this is really solid, but it is a little bit more verbose than I would like. So over here in the chat, let's ask it to make it more concise, and then let's send that. You can see that it tightens everything up while keeping all the key points. In fact, it looks like it's about half the length of the original. Now, let's see if maybe we could also add a sales forecast to this. So down below, I'll type that in and let's send it. And there we go. It added a new section with the sales forecast. Now, All I have to do is fill in all of the specific details. I can also update specific parts of this artifact. Here, if I scroll all the way to the top, I have my executive summary. Let's see if maybe we can make this a little bit more persuasive. I'll highlight all of this text, and when I do that, I get this overlay that allows me to improve it or explain it. Let's click on Improve, and let's see if it can make it more persuasive. Then let's click on Update. And now it improves just that section without changing everything else. So I can update the entire document, or I can just refine specific pieces. Now, once you start creating multiple documents like this, things can get messy pretty quickly. To keep everything organized, we can use something called projects. Let's now rename this document or the artifact. To do that, let's click on this dropdown up on top, and here we have the option to rename. I'll click on that, and let's call it the Product Launch Plan Oatmeal Raisin Cookie. Then I'll click on Save. Right up on top, let's click on that same dropdown, and we can now add this artifact to a project. Right over here, I'll click on Add to Project. This opens up a prompt where I can see all of my existing projects, or up on top, I can also create a new project. I'll make a new one called Oatmeal Raisin Cookie Launch, and right here, I'll click on Create. Over on the left-hand side, let's now click on this icon to open up all the different projects. And there, I see the project that we just created called the Oatmeal Raisin Cookie Launch. Let's click into this one. With projects, I can keep my launch plan, my chats, and any other files all here in one place. As an example, I also have a PDF with research on oatmeal raisin cookies. Here, I could drag that in and add it to the project knowledge. Here, I have my PDF with all of the research, and over here, we also have that artifact that we just created a moment ago, all here in one place. Now that I have some files in my project, I can also add instructions. So that way, instead of repeating myself every time, I can tell Claude how I want it to respond. Right over here, I'll click on this plus icon, and I can now add instructions. As an example, let's say always respond in bullet points. Now, I'll click Save, and anything I ask inside this project will follow that automatically. Now, here's where this gets really powerful. Inside a project, Claude can use everything I've added. So it can reference my launch plan artifact and also the research document I uploaded. Right here, I'll type in a prompt. What should I prioritize for a successful launch? And then let's run that. Now, you'll notice it responds in bullet points, and it's also pulling from both the plan and the research. Instead of jumping between chats, everything here stays nice and organized. So far, we've looked at how to do work in Claude, but you can also connect it to your other tools. Back in the main chat view, let's click on the plus icon, and right here, you see the option to add connectors. Now here, you could connect it to things like your files, your email, your calendar, and you have all sorts of other services as well. Now, with email, you could have it review your emails and highlight what's most urgent. For most people getting started though, you don't need this right away, but it really becomes powerful as you go deeper. In the top right-hand corner, let's close out of this. You can also customize how Claude works with something called skills. Right here, I'll click on the plus icon, and here, you can manage your skills, or you could add a new skill. This lets you save reusable instructions or workflows, so you don't have to repeat them every time. For example, you could create a skill for writing emails or analyzing data in a very specific way. If you want to go deeper, check the description for a full video on how to use skills. That's how to use Claude to actually get work done day to day. If you want to go deeper, I put together a full playlist covering everything Claude. You'll find that linked right down below. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.